Visit CCGCastle.com and get 5% discount on your purchase with TCG Center 5 code. Check video description or visit CCG Castle for more. Hello and welcome back to Pokemon TCG Center. In today's video we'll be looking at Toxicroak, Ariados, Octillery, Disruptive deck. So definitely one of my favorite cards from the Steam Siege. Toxicroak with the Poison Enzyme, actually with ability which says that if your opponent active Pokemon is poisoned, you can prevent all damage done to this Pokemon. Poisoned, you have 2 energies. Hit for 50 or with the 70 or 90 if you have 1 or 2 strong energies attached to the Toxicroak. That's pretty much it. Not a strong attack, but actually that ability is decent. For that ability, Ariados will help us with that Poisonous Nest, and of course, Octillery will help us to drop some extra resources with the Beazle Hand. In order to be able to play that Toxicroak with the Poison Enzyme, I decided actually to run this version of the deck as a Disruptive. So I decided to keep 4 Crushing Hammers in this deck, 2 Enhanced Hammers, and actually Delinquent and a Team Flare Grunt. So basically, if you can scrap those energies from your opponent Pokemons in play, you're definitely going to be able to prevent your opponent from getting a chance to do any damage to your Toxicroak. And as long as you can keep your opponent poisoned, he's not going to be even able to attack your Toxicroak, because you of course have that Poison Enzyme ability, and you can just hit for 50, 70, 90, maybe even 180, depending on the weakness and the type of your opponent Pokemon in play. And that's pretty much it. That's the strategy. I mean, keep your opponent with no energies in play. Also try to disrupt his hand with a Delinquent, and of course do a slow amount of the damage counters and pretty much try to win the game. That's pretty much it. I decided to roll this deck as also budget version, so there's no shamies in this deck. The most expensive cards, of course, are going to be 2 Octilleries and VE Seekers, but any other cards are just pretty much like $half a piece. As you can see, I'm running 6 hammers, 4 Crushing Hammers, and 2 Enhanced Hammers. In addition to that, 1 Escape Rope, so I can escape from my active position just if I need. It's always good to have something like that. 4 copies of Level Ball, because all of my Pokemons are actually under 90 HP, so I can easily grab any of them with the Level Ball. 2 copies of Super Road, in case you need to shuffle back your knockout out Pokemons or energy cards from a discard pile back into your deck. I decided to roll just with the 2 Super Roads instead of adding 1 Super Road, 1 special charge, because I think the most important thing is to be able to have more Toxicroaks instead of those special charges, because you definitely need those Toxicroaks and energies, basic energies, or just Ariados instead of that 1 or 2 special energies for 20 extra damage. 4 copies of Trainer's Mail, 4 copies of Ultra Ball, 4 copies of VE Seeker, pretty much as a standard. From supporter cards, I decided to run 1 Delinquent, so I can, as I mentioned it, discard Stadium from play and also force my opponent to discard 3 cards from his hand. 1 copy of Lysander, 2 copies of N for drop support, 1, of course, Pokemon Ranger, so you can be able to attach special energies against Giratina Chaos Wheel or attack your opponent Glacian EX. Professor Sycamore, of course, time 4. But as I mentioned it, Glacian EX will not be able to do any damage to your Toxicroak, but unfortunately, effect of the attack will be still effective. So Poison Enzyme can only prevent the damage counter, so don't mess with that. Of course, 1 copy of Team Flare Grunt, discard an energy attached to your opponent active Pokemon. The card is printed in this generation, so it's legal for the next set and the next for the next standard format. Force of the Giant Plant times 2. I'm only running 2 Stadium cards, and I think the Force of the Giant Plant is good because you can actually, when you get knocked out with your Ariados, you can just easily Super Road, Level Ball, and grab back your Ariados in a single turn, which is definitely good. 2 copies of Flowstone for the free retreat, 8 energies in total, 4 strong energies, and 4 pretty much regular fighting energy cards. As usual, if you're looking for any of these cards, you can find them on CCGCastle.com, so you should definitely check that in my video description. And also, if you're looking to get some discount on your purchase by typing TCG Center 5 code, you can also get 5% discount on your purchase, so keep that also in mind. Today, I will play a match only with this deck build, and I'm only going to play this against one of my friends on the YouTube. So he played a budget version of the Night March, so I hope you will enjoy watching this video. So at least you have a pretty decent disruptive deck list, so you should definitely try to build your own and play with it. It's definitely a lot of fun, and a lot of pain for your opponent. So enjoy in the rest of the game, and see you tomorrow with the next video. So goodbye. Alright guys, so on the other side, it's the most arrogant deck that we can play against, which is a Night March. So I definitely need to build a strategy right here. So let's see. Level ball for a Remoraid, but I don't see Remoraid in my deck, which means that I have two of my Remoraids. One Remoraid actually in the active position, which is probably going to be knocked out, but another one is in a discard pile. So I will just take that Spinner, put it down to the bench, maybe even Ultra Ball, maybe not. There's a Trainer's Mail for the Delinquent. I'm going to take a big risk right here, to be honest. I will play a Delinquent on my Forest of the Giant Plan, so I can force my opponent to discard 3 cards from his opening hand, which can definitely be a devastating blow for the Night March. As you can see, 2 Puzzle of Times discarded. I'm pretty happy with that. Which means that 2 Puzzle of Times are not going to be able to be played for my opponent later, and that's very important. So there's a Acrobike, and 1 Mew is discarded. Alright, so there's another Acrobike. 1 Psychic Energy discarded, there's another Joltik, and it's my turn, so I guess that was pretty decent. So I'm going with my Ultra Ball. Just want to get a Abyssal Hand for perfect 5 cards, and we'll grab that, another Krogan actually for the bench. No need to rush with my Toxicroak because I still cannot attack, so definitely want to play my Abyssal Hand. Alright, so let's see. There is a Rieros, and there is also Escape Probe, so I do want to get from the active position. So I'll force my opponent to put one of his Joltiks into the active, and I'm going to put my Krogan. I have VA Seeker, but I don't have Stadium in place, so I guess I can just Poisonous Nest with passing my turn. Against Night March, I can even just use my Poison and still do the great job. So there is a Sycamore for 7, a Lysander, and Pupkaboo discarded. So there's another Joltik on his bench, already 2 Night Marches in the discard pile, which means 1 Double Color's Energy will do the job, but there's just a Psychic Energy attachment on the Pupkaboo on the bench, and he decided to pass his turn. I'm going to take advantage if I can get heads on that Crushing Hammer, but unfortunately I cannot. Will evolve my bench at Toxicroak. I will go with my Abyssal Hand. So there is a Strong Energy, there is another Crushing Hammer, and the most important thing, there is also another Level Ball for another Krogan. I'm definitely going to play that on my bench, and we'll try to get heads this time with my Crushing Hammer, which is very important. Unfortunately, again, tails. So at least I can knock out that Joltik by just passing the turn from the poison, from the damage of the poison. So I'm taking a first prize here, which is a Trainer's Mail. So there is a Pupkaboo in the active position. Alright. Another Pupkaboo played on the bench. And another Sycamore for 7. So 2 Bee Seekers in this way discarded. Still no sign of the energy, so first Battle Compressor in like turn 3 after almost more than a half a deck played. So Battle Compressor, with the Battle Compressor you can discard up to 3 cards, and I think that was just N and another Joltik discarded. So there's another Acrobike, and there's a Fighting Fury Belt, Psychic Energy, which means that this is going to be a knockout, so knocking blow. Alright, right now we are both equaled, so I'm going to promote my Toxicroak into the active position. There's a Flowstone, and a Trainer's Mail. So first I'm going to play my Trainer's Mail. There's Ultra Ball, so I guess with the Ultra Ball I can grab a new Pokemon. And this time I'm also going to grab another Croagunk, put it onto my bench. I also have a Floatstone, which is going to be attached onto my Octillery. So I'm going to take a risk right here with a Beazle Hand. I didn't decide to attach my Floatstone onto Toxicroak in case I don't get energy or supporter card, but luckily I managed to get one. Do I want to go with my Sycamore for 7? Just a quick calculation. I can hit for 90, 70, and with the poison, alright, 80. But he's not going to be able to attack me. So I'm going to use my Poisonous Nest. Alright, so we are both poisoned. And I will just hit with my Poison Jab for 70. Of course, he's going to take 10 damage counters from the poison. And unfortunately for the Night March, my Toxicroak cannot be attacked or damaged by the attack because I have that Poison Enzyme ability. And there is a V-Seeker for the Lysander, so I guess he's going to knock out my... Oh, actually he decided to roll with the Octillery instead of the Ariados, but I guess he should probably go with Ariados because that's a biggest threat in play. Alright, so there is a 10 more damage counters. I guess I will just play my Floatstone. Sycamore, I guess, of course. There is Forest to the Giant Plant. I'm going to retreat onto my Croagunk without energy card. And I'm just going to pass my turn. That's pretty much it. Without playing any card. That Pokeball is going to be knocked out. I'm going to take a extra prize. So we are both equal right now. 3 V-Seekers played for my opponent, which is pretty good. And there is another Pokeball in the active position, so there is Puzzle of Time. If there will be 2 copies of Puzzle at the same time, which means that my opponent will be able to take any 2 cards from his discard pile. And of course, with the V-Seeker and Fighting Fury Belt, he can pretty much use a supporter turn. So there is Fighting Fury Belt, and there might be a double Colorless Energy attachment, and a Lysander. No, he just decided to roll with the N, which means that we are both going to be equaled with a 4 prize. With the 4 prizes, we can both drop 4 cards, and I was able to get that V-Seeker, so which means that I'm probably going to maybe even Delinquent my opponent hand for the next turn. I think that also that can also be very, very good play, because he's going to be without cards in his hand, and it's my turn again. So I'm going to play my Level Ball and grab Toxicroak, put it onto the bench at Croagunk. Roll with the Trainer's Mail. Maybe I can find Super Road. Oh, there we go. There is a Super Road. So this is very nice because I can put back into my deck some of my Octilleries, Ramorites, and basically one more Croagunk. And I'm going to basically V-Seeker for the Delinquent. But of course, first I'm going to play my Poisonous Nest. And Delinquent. So without Stadium and without 3 more cards in his hand, my opponent right now depends on a top deck. Of course, I do have End, which means that I can end him for the next turn. And basically gave him 4 more cards, but it will depend on the top deck. If I can drop something like Energy, I can use my Poison up and basically put 4 damage counters instead of the 1. Oh, he managed to top deck Sycamore. Basically V-Seeker for the Sycamore, so he's going to be able to take advantage with the prize right here if he can find double Colorless Energy. So there is a Dimension Volley and a double Colorless, which means that he can go definitely for a knockout with the Night March. So there is 260. Which means that I'm going to promote my Toxicroak into the active position. So he still have 3 double Colorless Energy cards. It's time to go with my N. So there we go. There's a Remoraid, another strong energy. Do I want to play my Super Road? Well, I guess I'm not going to do that yet. So I will just hit with my Poison Jab right here. That's going to be enough for the knockout. I know that if he have double Color's energy, he's going to be able to knock out my Toxicroak and take a price advantage. But I really need to start apply some pressure right here because I'm down to 3 prizes and I cannot wait. At least I know that he already played 4 V-Seekers and he might not be able actually to play any of them anymore. But I also know that he have 3 more double Color's energy cards left in his deck, which means that I will need at least one of my crushing cameras. Oh, there is just, oh my goodness, I didn't expect that. So yeah, pretty much knockout blow with his Mew with a single Psychic Energy. So how many Psychic Energy he played, I really don't know. I can just assume. So there is a Super Road. And I'm going to put back my Krogan line. So I need to knock out his Mew right here with my Poison Jab. And I'm down to 2 prizes, but it's very, very tough right here. I guess next turn probably I'm going to, I don't know. Oh, there's Enhanced Hammer, which means that I might get lucky if he actually get a double Color's energy and knock out my Toxicroak. So there's another Mew and a Teammates, which means that he can search his deck for any cards. I really need to top deck at least V-Seeker for N. Or any kind of the supporter card right here. So if there be a double Color's energy, which would be, it's going to be a knockout blow. So he's down to 1 prize card, and I really need to top deck something strong right here. I do have Enhanced Hammer, but more than that, Enhanced Hammer will work. And look at this. I'm going to use my Poisonous Nest right here, and basically will poison his Puffkaboo. And then I'm going to evolve into my Toxicroak, which means that he cannot attack me right here. Which means that I can attach my energy, hit for 40, and basically he's going to take 10 damage counters at the end, 30, and he's going to take 10 damage counters from the poison at the end of my turn. But he cannot attack my Toxicroak, so he needs to retreat in order to be able to attack my Toxicroak. So there is double Color's energy attached to the Mew, which means if I can find Forest of the Giant Plant, come on, there was no Enhanced Hammer. If I managed to find Enhanced Hammer, I would be able to discard that. Pretty much energy from his Mew, but in this way I can just knock out his Puffkaboo and draw 1 prize, which is another spinner, but then Mew can just easily came into the active position and knock out my Toxicroak for the last prize, and he even had 1 more double Color's energy in his hand, which means that only N would probably help me maybe to win the matchup right here. So it's pretty much a GG. Well, devastating blow from the Night March, I can tell you that. So guys, my conclusion for this deck. Well, it's a pretty decent deck. It's a cheap deck to build, and it can also be very competitive. Basically, I really like the option where you can actually prevent your opponent from attacking you if your opponent active Pokemon is poisoned. But these days, a lot of decks are actually running some supporter Pokemon cards like Zoroark, so they can actually stand in, retreat. They also running those Hex Maniacs, which can actually easily shut down your ability, and they can actually, in that case, just knock out your Toxicroak, where you can going to lose 2 energies for attack, which can also be a big minus. And pretty much Garbodor with the Garbotoxin can easily shut down your Toxicroak, so you are going to have a very strong matchup against it. But at least you can pretty much discard tons of energies, tons of special double dragon energies from those Giratinas, and basically you might take advantage by knocking out those Garbodor and Dark Rays for 2 prizes. Possible tech for this card, for this deck could be Jirachi with Stardust. It's definitely a good card. Also, experience shares can be a possible tech, and bursting balloons. So you can also play this deck without crushing hammers. For example, adding instead of 4 crushing hammers, you can add 4 bursting balloons instead of a instead of the Team Flare Grunt and enhanced hammers. You can add, for example, Equarm, so you can reshuffle those basically bursting balloons back into your deck and add 2 XP shares who can actually help you to, when you get knocked out with your Toxicroak, to at least preserve that 1 energy and put it on one of your benched Toxicroaks. So in that case, you can have attacker for the next turn. But in pretty much special, pretty much a perfect case scenario with this deck, you should probably be able to scrap at least 2 times of 4 times with Crushing Hammer your opponent basic energy or special energy from play, 1 or 2 times with the Team Flare Grunt, and 2 times 100% special energy discarded with the Enhanced Hammer. So with the Delinquent, you can even force him to discard Stadium and tons of cards from his hand, so you can definitely get a pretty decent matchup. As you can see, I played against that Night March against one of my friends, and basically I was not able to beat it. But that last hand, actually, if I was able to get N and end him down to 1 card, I would be able to win. But Night March is a deck for itself. It's pretty broken deck, and even in the budget version without Shamies, it's very strong. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy once again watching this video. Tomorrow I will definitely upload another one. Stay tuned for the more videos. Don't forget the like button and subscribe to the channel if you already didn't. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave comments below, and that's pretty much it. So see you tomorrow, and goodbye.